What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Matt right here, number one with the number one comment. He says, "Hello, Robot Don. What's happening? What's up?" Okay, so my last video, guys, I talked about how the stock market was absolutely it was going nuts at the time. I also mentioned, hey, don't be the reason I'm giving a rip your face off rally. So in this video, we're gonna talk about the earnings that are coming up, also the expected moves, what we're pricing in for all of that, and I'll give you something a little bit more actionable, other than the stock market. You know, it goes up and down. But before you get too far ahead of anything, I've been doing this for 11 years. The one thing 11 years has taught me is that it just goes up and down. Regardless of your excuses, we watch earnings beat and then it sells off. We watch earnings miss and it goes up. And there's always someone saying, well, if it beat, why did it sell off? And again, there's the leading excuses. Stocks would be even more boring if we just didn't have a leading excuse to talk about. Can you imagine that? But anyway, careful before you get too caught up, because when the volatility jumps up like this and things get crazy, that tends to be what happens. You guys start looking for reasons to be right or to be wrong, and that leads to a lot of mistakes and mismanagement. So let's jump into it. We got, as of right now, futures are green enough to even talk about. Because remember, so far for the last, I don't know how many weeks, the Sundays open. And how many streams have we done this on? Sundays open, green or red, and I have this stretched to the max just so you can see it. For those of you guys on your mobile phones, this is what we're looking at. Like, oh, it's green, technically. And I'm usually telling you guys there's a lot of time for market opens. If you're bullish, I wouldn't be popping any bottles. If you're bearish, I also wouldn't be losing any sleep. But these past couple Sundays, we've had some movement. I'll give it that, albeit a lower volume. And again, it's a lot easier to convince 5 people what the price should be versus 5 million. So let's get into it real quick. Jump in the chat. Tell me where you're from. I kind of want to see where everyone's from, country or state. Well, let's go. Let's start at the top. Go to the dollar. All right, now I'm short the dollar, so this needs to absolutely, utterly break down. I don't know. It says it's not the best looking. We talked about this back here when I was short the dollar, going into the it was the weekly. Going into the weekly, when it jumps up and hits that zone and we just don't reject, we do start to base out. I look for the continuation. Story hasn't changed. Regardless of the little boxes, I do want that one to turn down. Phoenix, Arizona's 95 today. It was a little bit breezy here. Today was one of those days where the windows lied to you. Looked amazing outside, and then you go outside and you're like, why is that wind 32 degrees? I just feel like that. All right, so I am short the US dollar, Japanese yen. Don't get me wrong, have been for some time. Yeah, my average is down here. It's down. Now I did add on, so I have a new position up right here. So it looks like that's gonna be up, 12 pips, something little. Negligible at that. Um, sucks to suck. Every bit of this is catching that knife and fighting the trend. Which back to the 11 years of doing this, sometimes just playing the trend, it's a million times easier. More importantly, understand your risk, and know your numbers. That's it. All right, Bitcoin doing the whole. Now, YouTube, you probably haven't seen this in a while. This is what you call a Hello Kitty bow pattern. Now, I want you to pay very close attention to this because this is something my group knows all too well. And we've been able to call out Bitcoin, not to just the thousandth dollar, but the actual literal dollar and penny. Yeah, we knew it was going to bounce right there to the T. Yeah, imagine that. $64,000 product, and we knew it was going to bounce right there at $59,680.42. A lot of us actually bought it up at that point. So congrats to everybody in my group. If you're still here after all that, you're my people. 100% that was just a joke. Please forgive me. All right, right now I found some buyers here. Now when I went live, when Bitcoin first sold off, I said we'd probably bounce, touch that zone, and then this one would break. And I even talked about I was kind of like iffy on even buying this zone, and it bounced. It cool, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Not I don't even trade Bitcoin, so congrats if anybody did follow that play. Again, I this is not a call out service, but I talk about a lot of stuff. And if you agreed with that analysis and you bought right here, you're up a little bit, just shy of 10%. I got to stick to it. I'm going to buy Bitcoin down here at the $50,000 mark. And that's it. Please don't go to the red line. That says just join the mentorship. I mean, if you want to know about the real patterns, now I will say the Hello Kitty bow might have been a joke, but the cowboy hat pattern definitely wasn't. All right, Russell made this a little bit brighter for a reason. We kind of got a little extended, but largely this was a stronger. And now I call them zones, but to probably better understand it, areas of attention, right? Where those buyers and sellers, is it there? Because YouTubers, they're not moving this. They're not going to hold up the Russell. This is other larger institutions, and what we're looking for is hopefully some still attention out there. Because again, it takes days or if not weeks to fill their positions of any normal size, and they use algos to fill in. Like here's your parameters. Start filling me at this price. It's not the super scalpers that just market buy and market sell all within a fraction of a second. So what we're trying to do is hopefully take advantage of that. If they were long before, maybe there's still some orders here. There's still some attention to go long here. Now, I will say market is in an absolute sell-off mode. And I meant what I said in my last video of don't be the reason why I'm going over what a rip your face off rally is. Volatility is still high. Before we get to these futures, let's pull up the VIX. So VIX, yeah, gapped up, sold off. Cool. What is that? A dip buy for anybody buying the futures contracts? Shout out to anybody that's buying those. Those are not cheap. $12,000 for one contract. Not exactly your Robinhood players. But the volatility VIX, the volatility of the volatility is also starting to turn that thing around. Now, again, I look at this as a light switch because, like I said, stock market's always going up and down. That's not sarcasm. It's just kind of how it is. That is the name of the game. But when this thing is up there, that next green or red candle, it's just a tad bit bigger, right? So you need to price that in. As far as allocation wise, yes, you could spend the same and make so much more or lose so much more. But when volatility gets high, you get this special gift of you get to spend less and make the same or risk less. So it's kind of cool. If you are going to catch that knife, it's a better opportunity, I think. And I hesitate to say that because that's could lead into some bad habits. Let me just start catching knives when volatility's high. But because things are moving so much more, this is when things liven up. This is exactly what I mean by this thing's going to go up or down. And what I don't want to answer is, what should I do with this position? Well, I went long, and what you actually just told me is I didn't actually have a plan. I clicked the buy button on a few things. Holy cow, I'm really red, and I'm about to have a knee-jerk reaction and sell this while I'm down. And is that a good plan, or should I just continue to hold, or should I double down? Which is the literal equivalent of getting mugged in an alleyway. Says, "Give me your wallet," and you say, "But wait, there's more. I have an iPhone 15 in my left pocket. Did you want that too?" So maybe we just don't do that. Again, right now, green, hopefully it holds. I think right now we probably will see more of a relief rally this week, which does suck because I tried catching the knife last week, full blown, just a loss. I did do short dated options, call options on Qs and SPY. Just didn't pan out. And I bet if I just give it an extra week, I might have actually made something on those because I do bet we start to bounce. Expected moves. For everyone that has my charts, I'm going to actually update that in the next video for the mentorship. So these are not. This is last week's expected moves. I can actually toss these out. As far as IWM, we got 198.02. Hang on, I'll get that out of here. 198.02. All right, 188.26. I do like to manually draw these in. So again, this is where market makers kind of hedge their risk for whatever reason, right? You think it's going to go up, down, whatever someone told you on Facebook. Your wife's boyfriend, he knows something. Okay, all of those people have bought their call options, their shares. Everything is accounted and hedged for, and that's what we're saying. So if there's going to be any real surprise, it's going to break above and below that. These are not support and resistance levels, but you will watch. You'll watch some interaction at these levels. Again, don't confuse that with support and resistance. Looks like tech is an absolute melt mode. As far as a pullback goes, so we haven't reached correction territory. This right here, getting to this level, let's just toss that out there. This level right here will be official correction territory. Maybe we'll see that in the news. What should we do? Let's go green. We're gonna do green. All right. At that point, remember, pullback 1 to 9%, correction 10 to 19%, a crash 20% or more. And like I said before, I am just 1,000% on board that we at least get to that. I wonder if we flirt with that or turn just before that, but I think bare minimum we at least get that. It being an election year, and I do think they want to start to pad the markets soon. Whatever the leading excuse will be, I think buying does come soon. When we get to these levels, if those of you guys that are following on the Patreon account, the growth account, I will be buying a lot right here. Is this where you buy rain or shine? It's where I will be buying shares. And like I've told you guys, I've sold a lot of puts, which means I am collecting a lot. Well, I'm collecting premium, but also at that point, I'm going to start hoarding shares. Anything I sell a put on, I will collect those shares and I will hold those. And like I've said throughout all these streams, it's going to be like a 2023 marriage. Now they might not last very long, but at some point I'm going to say till death do us part. It's going to last at least 6 months to a year. I'm going to hold on to that probably the remainder of this year because I don't think the selling is done. But whatever I'm selling puts on is something I'm going to have. It's things that I do think will recover. So we'll see how that plays out. Whether you want to agree with that or not, I'm literally going to jump into that fire, and hopefully my little heat blanket that I got out of a little pouch that big can hold it off for a little bit. You sold 100% of Bitcoin. No. If you've ever watched any of my videos, I don't trade Bitcoin. I might sell some at the 100K mark if I see another pump. Right now, I'm not selling. All I'm doing is buying. Up or down, still buying. Man. So when we get into the earnings coming up, I think we might actually have to double back to the NASDAQ because it is basically AI earnings week outside of NVIDIA, one of your biggest players. But we have some bigger players doing earnings this week. As far as the Qs, 425, 58. All right, and then we got 403.72. Now we're pricing in a decent move this week, so it would be rather shocking to see us actually break that down. What I'm thinking about, what I'm considering doing, and I'll probably have to do this in the NQ in the futures market. I'll probably collect a little bit more. But if I didn't have access to futures, and maybe all I have is a Robinhood account, I would consider selling the 400 to 398 put spreads. That is a bullish play, saying we're going to hold right here. Careful with that allocation because you're going to collect $20, risking 180. And if it blasts right through, you might think that's an easy $20. But if it blasts right through that, you'll realize just how much you had allocated out there. But after last week's sell-off, the cool thing about breaking moves, expected moves, is you catch people off guard one time. A lot of times we price that volatility in the following week. And at that point, it tends to make these a little bit safer. For you guys that have been following me for a while, I had a trading bot, and it had sold iron condors 1.5 standard deviations. It was the one thing I wanted to make that didn't have to be adjusted and jacked with all the time. And that was the best I could come up with my little brain. Let's clear this up a little bit. All right, now as far as the S&P goes, we got, let's put our green line right there. There is our, and now this is a weekly zone, which is why I drew it in those pink instead of just having a pink box. I just did the lines. If that's confusing, some people already have got that confused. We'll just switch that. All right. There is your correction territory. Oh, we just tagged 5%. We're about halfway there. So the real question is, when do we get there? Do we get there? We've seen the S&P pull off these just sideways markets with incredible ranges. For anybody day trading, short-term trading, a lot of money to be made in there, but they take just some time off the clock. And eventually you see something like this just catch back up. We get a little excited, starts to go sideways. This starts to creep up, much like your indicators that went from overbought start to cool off. Everything starts to cool off, and then we catch back up, and then it sends it again. But again, volatility as high as it is, we hit that zone under currently right now. We're bouncing. But I gotta say, if I was a bear and I got short right there, my head's in the way. Just imagine I went short right here or right here. Now, imagine I knew the answers. I said, "Hey guys, uh, you got to go short. It's gonna go 10% down, but there's gonna be a bounce right here." How many of you guys would even worry about a green candle right now? Look at how much you are up. Let's just say SPY shares, let alone ES futures contracts. You got to handle that little bounce. That's literally nothing. Negligible. We haven't even broken any trend. The daily trend's still down. Your 4-hour trend barely chopping around sideways. Sideways does not mean up. It just means not down as fast. So right now, whole lot of nothing to be catching that knife on. But that being said, we could just play this range. We could bounce up. I'd be very careful allocation wise. And if we do get that rip your face off rally, that's where I really want to go short. Even all last week, I was bearish, but I wanted a good short position. And I feel like the markets, someone is subscribed to me, and they would not let that happen. All right, Don's going to go short if it goes any higher. Nah, just market sell this thing right now and send it even higher. I got to say, the people in my group, and I know this sounds cheesy, special shout out to you guys because they are short. They're just playing the trend. Absolutely, utterly killing it right now. They're putting up, not that it's ever a competition, but they're definitely putting up more numbers than I am. Pretty easy when it's a red day. I should have thought about that. But no, I don't know. Rip your face off rally, and I am going short. I hate going short at the bottom. And that's kind of what I meant to say in my last video is that we're selling off, play that trend, but inside that trend and volatility picking up, the green candles, they just come out of nowhere. I mean, it's like a lightning strike, and that's why it has the name Rip Your Face Off Rally. You go loading up short because this scared you, and now you're talking real trouble, and then it just sent it right on top of that. And then you tag out, which makes it even further. The buy the dip crowd shows up talking about market highs. It pops up, and then everybody just piles in short again until that trend changes. So for this trend to change, guys, we need to push up, pull back, make that higher low somewhere. Maybe breaks above this zone, pulls back, holds this zone, pushes up, higher high. At that point, you're officially talking about. Let's just put that back up. A trend change. But until then, you're throwing darts. As far as option sellers go, when the VIX gets up, this is the closest thing you'll get to a home run. But at the same time, if you go up to bat and the only thing you're going to swing for is home runs, you're likely going to strike out or get a home run. Like those are your two options. You know, there's no home runs when it comes to selling options. This is the closest thing you'll get to it. But you do just make sure. Not just like, oh, yeah, no, I know I'm going to own it. And then you finally own that. Because let me remind everybody here that's an option seller. You start selling puts. What has to happen for you to get assigned? You sold out of the money puts hoping to avoid assignment and that to expire worthless. And then you got assigned, which means that thing is selling off already further than you already thought. You're already in trouble when that happens. If you didn't already have that planned, thought up in your head, you were going to lead to an emotional response. So just chill that out a little bit. But like Lori says, the premiums do get juicy. And that's why I'm very attracted. I'm selling a whole bunch of options right now for that very reason. And I also don't mind holding. I do think the selling does not last forever or that long. And I guess that's where we'll find out if I'm wrong. But for now, I'll stomach the little bit of red for what I'm collecting in premium and what I'll hope to gain later in returns. Now, I've been selling the 160s forever. Almost got assigned the 160s on Tesla, but I rolled that to the next week. Still collecting money on that. But if it drops any further, I will own Tesla at 160. Now, my average cost will be much lower for how much I've already collected. We're probably already in the 40s. I'm probably not even red on Tesla. But right now, I call that free internet money. I'm going to own Tesla at 160. It's what it's going to say on the P&L outside of my whole brokerage account. So for that, we're just gonna hang tight. As long as I can roll it and collect money, I will. But the further that gets out of the way, the less that'll be a thing. And if it does continue to sell off, it'll probably be this Friday that I own some. Rusty says he's short yes until we close above 51.25. Yeah, if you went short, and for everyone that is new here, guys, I trail everything. I buy when it makes sense, and I sell when it makes sense. You know how I do that? Outside of my buy positions, I trail things. I put my stop in the green. I'm a couple candles back, and all I do is just trail it, not an actual trailing stop. I put a stop market in there, and I manually move it up by the candles. So as long as we are on the gain train, up or down, my money just keeps going up for the same amount of thumb clicks. That's it. All right, so let's get into it. Who has the earnings this week? Let's see. Who is it? It's one of these clips. Hang on, let's refresh this while that loads. Real quick, join my mentorship if you really want to learn this one simple trick to really get the profits moving. I hope YouTube doesn't hate me. Hate me for that. My channel literally just got deleted last week. They said it was a mistake. It's already back up. That's why you're watching me on it. But let's just flirt with that some more. Why don't we? Here we go. Okay, today's the 21st. So nothing on Monday. Tuesday, we got PMI. So we got some letters. Durable goods. Thursday, any excitement. Jobless claims. All right, so the letters we got, PMI and then PCE. Cool. And a bunch of YouTubers talking about the Great Reset, fire in the thumbnails. And let's go. Right out of the gate, Monday, nothing. I'm covering up most of Monday. There's nothing to worry about there. Any big ones here? GM can go to the dirt. So we got Tesla Tuesday after close. In phase will be a pretty big one. Tesla in phase. That's it. But I know Texas Instruments has a pretty decent following, and same with Visa. I won't be in these, but the two I am in that I will be watching are Tesla and in phase. Boeing, please announce that they're not going to fall out of the sky like a lawn dart, and maybe we knew where to put the bolts. That'd be a pretty sweet update. Boston Dynamic. Did I just say Boston Dynamic? Boston Scientific, and I saw Dynamics. It's like, there we go. They are publicly traded. And then we got Wednesday, Meta. So Tuesday, Tesla. Wednesday, we're going to kick it up a little bit more with Meta and IBM. And IBM is one of my latest ones that I put in my investment account because they are an AI play, which blew me away. Not gonna lie, that was not one of my first picks until I found that out. So Meta, IBM, Ford. I know a lot of us play that. All right, nothing there. Thursday, as far as AI plays goes, look at this: Microsoft, Alphabet, Intel, Snap. Are they an AI play? They got their little. They're not making AI. Anyway, they're in the tech space. Tech's gonna move. Roku, Kathy Woods. They are innovative, super innovative. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Roku. Maybe you had a Roku box one day before your TV got smart, does everything on its own anyway. But without that, super duper innovative. Who else do we have? Nothing to worry about there. Exxon. So we got a little bit of energy coming Friday. Man. So some heavy hitters. As far as so I did play on like my top AI plays. Meta's number one, then Tesla. Nvidia's my third one. Number three. But that's the following week. But then there's Microsoft and Google. Intel, rooting for you guys. That's more of a nostalgic thing for me because I've fought so many people on Intel over AMD. So let's jump into that. As far as Tesla goes, now you can see without even knowing earnings for this week, the expected moves considerably jumped up for these. So they're pricing in earnings. All right, Tesla 131.56. Now I will say, as far as Tesla goes, the one thing I'm nervous about is what Elon's going to say. And I think everybody is, but you guys have to remember Elon has already been through this almost going bankrupt before. And so when he talks about recession, he has that PTSD. Probably more C PTSD would be a. I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Anyway, if you have it, you know what I'm talking about. But if he comes out and gives the bunker down speech because we are kind of thing, I think that could spook some people and really send this thing down. Now, a lot of people are invested in this, not because of their cars, but because of the pipeline and things to come. So it'll be interesting to see the whole reaction to this. The cool thing is if there is a bullish, I will say if there's any sell off, it's probably not going to be that big. Like, what is he going to come out and say that isn't already priced in, talked about, or already well known? I feel like if you are going to sell this, you probably already have sold. So, not that I'm bullish this particular earnings, but if there's going to be a surprise, I think it is to the upside. So, I haven't taken a play yet. But I might I might just go super cheap and grab some, maybe some 159, 160 call spreads. Yeah, out of the money. Pay a few bucks. They'll be worth 100 at close if it just gets above 160. And I might just do that for this week. It's very much a roulette trade, right? It's going to be green or red. That's it. So I might take some of that in case there is that surprise to the upside. But they already have delivery, so we already kind of know where everything's at, and I do have puts sold on it still. So I don't know. There's really not much I can say responsibly about earnings. I hope you guys know that. If you're looking for me for a direction, I'll give you my opinion, but earnings are earnings. There's going to be an announcement. It's going to go up or down, and that's that. So if you're in this, it's I'll see you on the other side play. So this is going to announce Tuesday. We'll see where you're at Wednesday, right? There's kind of no other way to put it. There's no stop losses or anything like that. Anything. Who does is already priced in. Tesla has sold off a lot. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying it can't sell off anymore, but do we see an absolute meltdown? It's not zero as far as your chances go. Absolutely could. My personal opinion is I think it's either sell off a little bit, a dud, or if there's anything green at all, the dip buy crowd just comes in and pushes it. I think small red, medium red, or large green is going to be how that shakes out for me. Then we had Meta. Oh boy, look, that thing just got wrecked. All right, Meta at 436.14. Now this is my number one position, so I would appreciate this thing just going up to around 600-700. Nowhere too nothing. I'm not asking too much. $600-700. We'll open the bid there maybe, and then we can just work our way to a cool 1,000. But Meta's been up and up and up, and that does not mean go short. Anybody taking that gambler's fallacy, just I went to the roulette table and it was black, 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 black. Surely it's going to be red next. You're asking to lose money. Now, there's a reason why I have a lot of Meta as my number one position. So it's not that I'm trying to speak it into existence and hope it goes up. There's a lot of things this has going for it. They just announced their new AI, which has its own dedicated website now. So not only is it on Facebook and Instagram, they have their own website. They are buying up every NVIDIA chip that they can. They are trying to make AI. They are trying to be one of the biggest players. So hopefully that continues. And that's why I called this the AI earnings week. Because there's just no way we go through this earnings call and not talk about that. And I kind of want to see where that trend is going. Are we buying as many chips as we can? Or did everyone else stop buying as much chips as they can? And because of that, we bought what we need, like how does this pan out? I know what everyone wants. What play are you going to take? I don't know if there is a safe play. And my group will know what play I take, probably right before, right after. What I would probably, if there was now you're not allowed to say safe, and there's no such thing as a safe play. Anybody that does talk about that is silly. But maybe a 525, 530 call spread, and let's go 435 for 430 put spread. So you would be buying an iron condor. If you can get that for cheap, that might be the play. Cody says he will buy calls on Meta. I have a lot of Meta. So to be honest, it is my number one position. If anything, I will look to hedge Meta. Now, when it comes to hedging, I do buy out of the money options contracts because it's an airbag. I'm not trying to just delta neutral this thing and load up on a bunch of at the money puts and watch this big move equate to absolutely nothing. But, something for my accountant to deal with. What I'll try to do is go a little bit out. If I were to buy puts, probably the 440s. So if it does get this, meltdown, I will have bought the 20 deltas and watched them go to hopefully 100. I want that turbo effect, that ramping up that options give you. That's what I would be looking for. And it's hard to say right now with what else price action are we going to get. But if for anyone in my group or hears me talking about meta puts, this one will not be because I'm short, but because delta wise, I'm very much long meta. All right, Microsoft, 419.91. $378.33. Yeah. Oh, if Microsoft breaks this zone right here, where are we headed? Probably right down to this zone right here. I doubt there's even a hiccup in the middle. Maybe. If it breaks, I think we're coming in hot. I will say this will probably be an earnings play after. If Microsoft sends this thing south, I'll probably sell some 355s, 360s puts on this. And when I say 355, 360, it's whichever one gives me more premium. On a $300 product, I'm not entirely worried about $5. So I like to give it the extra room. If I'm going to collect, let's say $9 here and $9.50 here, I'm going to go with $9. Now, those are just examples. So it's such case by case basis at the time of me taking it is the $5 worth, because $5 could be the make or break as far as getting assigned or not. But don't mind owning it down here, but I would need it to probably sell off to get that. Now, if it sells absolutely off to 360, I probably will, as of now, probably sell at the money puts. I'll get a full week of at the money theta right at its peak. I could push it down and take a freer, cheaper play. But I do need more meta in my investment account. So that's where I'll take that play just to hoard some more shares. So not that I want it to go down because I have Microsoft, but if it does, my eyes will be open. That'll be something I'm very interested in playing if it does go down. If it goes up, this is one that I bought not last year, the year before. I really hadn't done much with Microsoft, and then I don't know why it just clicked one year, and I was like, I'm just gonna start buying a lot of it, and it's done really well. But I could afford to have just a tad bit more. For those of you guys that are watching on Don Franz Show, this is one of my AI plays, one of my bigger AI plays. Anybody that's an absolute giant, I'm interested in. Last but not least, let's go over Google. 144.62. $163.56. I already did the math, but in case anyone's wondering, I already know all these. I have it actually just pulled up on my other screen. I bought a leap. Leap went well. Closed the leap just because it was up so much. If I will say, if Google, there's no way Google and Microsoft. Okay, there's probably. I know the second I say this out loud, it's going to happen. There's just probably no world where one goes up and the other one goes down. I bet they're on this train together. One's just in the window seat, one's an aisle seat. Now, if Google sells off, I'm going to sell some 140s on it, some 140 puts. Comparatively speaking, probably the same allocation, so quite a bit more shares as I would for Microsoft. But this is one I'd rather play the reaction to. I don't know if I want to be in it beforehand. I have Google. Man, I don't know. I don't know. I would say I don't know if I'm going to even sell calls on this one. I don't want to sell calls. I'm going to let this one play out. Same with Microsoft. I'm going to let that play out. To be clear, same with Meta. I'm not giving away my Meta shares. Any of my AI stuff, I'm just not giving away my shares yet. Um, yeah, hopefully this breaks it. If it's up, I'm just kind of on the train, like, all right, cool. Now I gotta jack with that. If it shoots up, now if Microsoft and Google Meta both shoot up, you'll I'll do exactly what I did on like the Palantir play, where we didn't have any calls sold on the Palantir as far as like the earnings week goes. In the growth account, we had Palantir. We have 100 shares, a little bit over. And as it would we again didn't have any calls sold against it, but earnings came out, shot that thing up to $23. I was like, surely we're gonna pull back here. So I sold the 23 calls. Well, it was at 22.50. I sold the 23 calls. So I'll take the same play. I'm not gonna let any shares go. But if we just send this thing north, then I will sell some calls for the remainder of the week. That'll be it. Preferably this thing sells off so I can get a little bit more. The more I have now in my investment account, the merrier. The more I can get with the same amount of money, to me, is the best deal I can get. So hopefully the bears out there are just laughing, saying we're going to send it even further south. I hope you're right. I hope you're short and you kill it, and I hope I get more shares. Um, absolutely. This stuff can hit the fan as far as I'm concerned. Send it everywhere. Make a complete mess. I am about that life. Real quick, if your stocks have already sold off and we're in the S&P, now look at the S&P just like a giant indicator, and it's only down 5%. You think we're going 10. We're at the halfway mark. So think about that before you guys start catching a whole bunch of knives. I am going to wrap it up here. Shout out to everybody that made it today. I'm actually live on Twitter, Power Zone Trading, Don Fron Trading, and Don Fron Show. Just went whole kit and caboodle. This is an AI week. It's a lot of everything. But when I say I'm going live again, it will be on Don Fron Trading. So make sure you just head over and hit that subscribe button on that channel. But I'm going to wrap it up here. If you're on that channel, you'll see me again Tuesday, actually every night this week that earnings is here. So it's going to be a good week for you guys if you want to see me. But I'm going to wrap it up here. Mentorship, don't go anywhere. We're going live now. Everyone else, see you tomorrow. Have a good one.